Want to learn an hour with many fun facts? Subscribe to Zarpado. We're starting now. The famous Marlboro Man, who symbolized rugged masculinity and the spirit of the West, met a tragic end in real life for several of the models who portrayed him. 4 of the men who appeared in the brand's advertising campaigns later died from smoking-related illnesses. During World War II, British intelligence created a weapon that was never fired, Project Habakkuk, which involved building an aircraft carrier made entirely of pykrete, a mixture of wood pulp and ice. Although the concept seemed like science fiction, the British spent time and resources designing this gigantic floating vessel. The first television program broadcast in color in the United States was the Rose Parade in 1954, but most viewers were unable to see it in color. This is because almost no one owned a color television at home, as they were extremely expensive and rare at the time. The famous Baroque-era composer Johann Sebastian Bach never composed an opera throughout his prolific career, which is quite unusual for a musician of his caliber during that period. Although he was a master of cantatas, concertos, and chamber music, he never ventured into this genre, even though opera was very popular and a great showcase for other contemporary composers. The most stolen painting in history is not the Mona Lisa, but the altarpiece, The Adoration of the Mystic Lamb by the Van Eyck brothers in Ghent, Belgium. It has been stolen or attempted stolen at least 6 times throughout its history, an astonishing number that underscores its value and the risks it has faced. There is a meteorological phenomenon known as fish rain, where aquatic animals, such as fish or frogs, fall from the sky. This event is not a miracle, but the result of powerful waterspouts or tornadoes that suck up small bodies of water, lifting animals to great altitudes. The town of Coober Pedy in South Australia is famous as the opal capital of the world, but its most unique feature is that most of its residents live underground. To escape the extreme heat of the Australian desert, houses, churches, and even hotels are carved into sandstone hills. In 1932, the Australian government declared war on a population of emus that was wreaking havoc on wheat crops in the west of the country, an event ironically known as the Great Emu War. The army, armed with machine guns, was sent to combat the flightless birds, but the mission was a humiliating failure. A popular urban legend about chewing gum claims that it takes 7 years for the gum to be digested if swallowed, but this is completely false. Although chewing gum is not digestible in the same way as other foods, because our stomachs cannot break down the gum base, it simply passes through the digestive tract intact. The giant squid has the largest eyes in the animal kingdom, reaching up to about 11 inches in diameter, similar to the size of a basketball. These massive eyes allow it to detect the bioluminescent light of its prey or predators in the dark depths of the ocean. The Lego brand takes its name from the Danish phrase "leg godt," which translates as "play well." Ironically, in Latin, the word Lego means "I put together" or "I assemble," which is a perfect match for the function of its famous building bricks. In Norway, the tradition of dugnad is a deeply rooted social custom involving collective volunteer work in the community. It is used to get neighbors together to clean or repair common areas, such as parks or apartment buildings, before the arrival of summer. Curling is an Olympic sport where players slide polished granite stones across an ice rink toward a circular target area called the house. What is unusual is that teammates use brooms to sweep the ice just in front of the stone. The habanero pepper, one of the hottest peppers in the world, is named after Havana, the capital of Cuba, but actually originated on the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. Although the name suggests a Cuban connection, its cultivation and use spread from Mexico. The Indus Valley Civilization, one of the largest and oldest in the world, mysteriously disappeared around 1800 BC. Its writing system has not yet been deciphered, making it difficult to know whether they suffered invasions, major floods, or extreme droughts. They left behind impressive cities with advanced urban planning, but the exact reason for their collapse remains an enigma. The 3.5-inch floppy disk, an icon of data storage for decades, had a clever design feature: the metal shutter. This small shutter, which protected the inner magnetic disk from dust and contact, opened automatically upon insertion and closed upon removal. In China, there is an ancient custom, sometimes practiced today, of paying the doctor only while the person is healthy and stopping payments when the patient becomes ill. This unusual practice was intended to motivate doctors to focus on preventive medicine and maintain the good health of their patients. In 1941, during a bombing raid in World War II, a bomb fell directly on the Natural History Museum in London, destroying a large section of the roof. Ironically, the only specimen that remained completely unharmed by the impact was an African bullfrog skeleton that was on display directly below the blast zone. On the island of Cyprus, there is a city, Famagusta, whose tourist area, known as Varosha, is a complete ghost town, sealed off by the military since 1974. Once a popular luxury destination, the area was abandoned after the Turkish invasion and has remained untouched for almost 5 decades. The wasabi commonly consumed in most sushi restaurants outside Japan is not authentic wasabi japonicum, but a substitute made with horseradish, mustard, and green food coloring. Real wasabi is extremely difficult to cultivate and preserve, making it very expensive and rare outside the producing regions. Buzkashi is a national sport in Afghanistan played on horseback. It is essentially a much rougher version of polo. Instead of a ball, the object of the game is to drag the body of a headless goat or calf across the opposing team's goal line. The Turin Papyrus, an ancient Egyptian document, contains a list of kings of ancient Egypt that includes not only historical pharaohs, but also gods who supposedly ruled before the unification of the country. This record, written in hieratic script and dated to the reign of Ramses II, is crucial for chronology, but raises questions about the mythical periods that preceded documented history. The city of La Rinconada in Peru is considered the highest permanent settlement in the world, located more than 16,700 feet above sea level in the Andes. This mining town sits at the foot of a glacier, and living conditions are extremely harsh because of the cold and the lack of oxygen. In 1989, the fast food chain Taco Bell tried to capitalize on the announcement that the Russian space station Mir was falling. They proposed that if it crashed onto a giant floating target they had placed in the Pacific, they would give every American a free taco. Chewing gum, in its earliest form, was chewed by the Maya and the Aztecs, who used the milky sap of the sapodilla tree known as chicle. This natural gum was chewed to freshen breath and suppress hunger. In South Korea, it is considered bad luck to write the name of a living person in red ink. Historically, red ink was used to write the names of the deceased in family records, so using it for the living is associated with wishing them bad fortune or even death. The town of Barrow-Utqiagvik, Alaska, experiences a phenomenon known as polar night, where the sun sets in November and does not rise again for more than 65 days. During this time, the town remains in total darkness or constant twilight, which profoundly affects the daily lives and biology of its residents. Singing sand is a rare geological phenomenon where sand dunes emit a loud, vibrant, deep sound similar to an organ or an airplane drone when conditions are right. This occurs when grains of sand of very uniform size slide down the slope at a specific speed. The urban legend that crocodiles or alligators live in the sewers of New York City became popular in the 1930s. The story claims that alligators bought as exotic pets were flushed down the toilet when they grew too large and survived underground. In Steven Spielberg's film Jaws, released in 1975, the mechanical shark nicknamed Bruce constantly malfunctioned and caused many production delays. Because of these problems, Spielberg had to get creative and chose to show the shark as little as possible, relying instead on suspense and suggestion. The famous Captain Crunch cereal character Captain Crunch is actually named Horatio Magellan Crunch. Despite his title, he has never been proven to be a real captain, which has led to humorous debates in pop culture. In Germany, there is a tradition called Polterabend, celebrated the night before some weddings. At this gathering, guests break porcelain and other ceramic objects on the floor. The bride and groom must clean up the pieces together to symbolize their ability to face life's challenges as a team. In ancient Greece, a form of legal punishment known as ostracism was used to exile any citizen considered a threat to democracy. Citizens voted by writing the person's name on fragments of pottery called ostraca. The famous year without a summer of 1816 was caused by the massive eruption of Mount Tambora in Indonesia the previous year, one of the most powerful volcanic events ever recorded. The enormous amount of ash and sulfur dioxide released into the atmosphere blocked sunlight around the world. The 1939 film Gone with the Wind had to halt production for 2 years after Margaret Mitchell published the book. This was because the studios did not believe any existing actress was suitable to play Scarlett O'Hara, launching a massive nationwide search. The chosen one, Vivien Leigh, was finally cast almost 2 years after the casting began. The first digital camera in history was invented by Steve Sasson, a Kodak engineer, in 1975. This camera was about the size of a toaster, recorded black and white images on a cassette tape, and took 23 seconds to capture a photo. Speed skating is one of the oldest sports featured in the Winter Olympic Games, and it was in this sport that the famous skater Eric Heiden achieved an extraordinary record. At the 1980 Winter Olympics in Lake Placid, he won all 5 individual speed skating events, setting the record for the most individual gold medals won at a single Winter Games. President Theodore Roosevelt survived an assassination attempt in 1912 while campaigning in Milwaukee. The bullet lodged in his chest, but a steel-framed eyeglass case and a thick manuscript of his speech folded in his pocket cushioned the impact. There is a lake in the Dominican Republic called Lake Enriquillo that is home to one of the largest populations of American crocodiles in the world. What is unusual is that this lake is saltier, even saltier than the sea, due to its lack of an outlet to the ocean and high evaporation. The famous Michelin Man mascot, Bibendum, was originally designed to be white, not blue or gray as he is sometimes seen. This is because when he was created in 1898, tires were white, the natural color of rubber. Actor Jim Carrey, for his role as the Grinch in The Grinch, released in 2000, had to undergo training with the Navy to endure the uncomfortable and lengthy makeup process, which sometimes lasted up to 8 hours. He was so desperate that the producer offered him a $20,000 reward to keep him from quitting the film. Cricket has the distinction of being the only major sport still played professionally without standardized rules regarding field size. While there are rules regarding center field and the circumference of the ball, the size of the playing field varies considerably. In 1930, in Mexico City, the Banana Riot took place, a popular uprising motivated by the economic crisis and the high cost of living. People took to the streets to protest the rising price of bananas. It was a symbol of frustration with inflation and the difficulty in accessing basic foodstuffs at the time. Sliced bread was not invented until 1928 by Otto Roeder, and at first, it was resisted by people who thought the bread would dry out faster. However, it became so popular that, during World War II, the United States government banned the sale of sliced bread to save on packaging wax. The Statute of Westminster of 1931 is a crucial document that granted full legislative autonomy to the dominions of the British Empire, such as Canada and Australia. Ironically, the Canadian government had to ask the British Parliament to uphold part of the law, allowing Great Britain to retain the ability to amend Canada's constitution. The village of Monowi in Nebraska, is famous for being the only incorporated municipality in the United States, with a population of just one person. The sole resident is a woman, Elsie Eiler, who serves as mayor, librarian, and barmaid. She must run for mayor, pay taxes, and maintain her tavern's liquor license for the village to legally continue to exist. The first computer to store a program in its memory was the Manchester Baby Machine, or Small-Scale Experimental Machine, in 1948. This stored program concept was fundamental since previously programs were loaded manually. Its design led directly to the creation of the world's first commercial computer, the Ferranti Mark I. Water polo was the first team sport to be included in the modern Olympic Games, making its debut at the 1900 Paris Games. Originally, the rules were quite violent, and the game was more like rugby played on the water. In the 1994 film Pulp Fiction, the famous shiny briefcase that Vincent and Jules retrieve never reveals its true contents, generating a great mystery among fans. Several explanations have been offered, the most widely accepted being that the briefcase simply contained an orange light bulb. The last successful invasion attempt of Great Britain was not by the Normans in 1066, but by a French force in 1797, an event known as the Fishguard Invasion. Led by Colonel William Tate, the troops landed in Wales but surrendered 2 days later. The city of Lhasa in Tibet, known as the City of the Gods, sits at an altitude of more than 1,1800 feet and boasts remarkably high air quality. The extreme altitude, however, means that water boils at a significantly lower temperature than at sea level, drastically affecting cooking times. The Rolling Stones' famed guitarist, Keith Richards, co-wrote the iconic riff for "I Cannot Get No Satisfaction" in his sleep. Richards woke up in the middle of the night, turned on a cassette recorder to capture the melody and title, and went back to sleep. The next morning, he found only 8 bars and 40 minutes of snoring. The first commercially available, massively multiplayer online MMO video game was MUD1, Multi-User Dungeon, created in 1978 at the University of Essex in the UK. This text-based game was played over ARPANET, the precursor to the Internet. It was a pioneering shared virtual world experience before the existence of complex computer graphics. The legendary Lost Army of Cambyses II of Persia is said to have disappeared in the Egyptian desert around 524 BC, while marching to destroy the Oracle of Amun. Herodotus claimed that a massive sandstorm swallowed the 5,000 soldiers. General Mills' cereal mascot Trix Rabbit has always wanted to try Trix cereal, but in commercials, he is always thwarted. His famous line is, "Silly rabbit, tricks are for kids." In the Czech Republic and Slovakia, there is a popular belief that to ensure good luck and wealth in the new year, one should eat carp for Christmas Eve dinner. Tradition dictates that after dinner, people should keep a carp scale in their wallet. This scale, which resembles a coin, is believed to attract money throughout the year. In 1518, in Strasbourg, France, a phenomenon known as the Dancing Plague broke out, where hundreds of people danced uncontrollably for days and even weeks, and some died from exhaustion, heart attacks, or strokes. The cause is believed to have been mass hysteria induced by the stress, hunger, and social tensions of the time. The poblano chile, popular in Mexico, is often roasted and peeled for use in dishes such as chiles en nogada. Interestingly, when this chile is dried, it changes its name and becomes known as ancho chile. This is an example where ripening and processing drastically alter the name and, slightly, the flavor profile. The inventor of the brake light for automobiles was not a person, but a woman named Florence Lawrence, one of the first movie stars. She invented a mechanical signal so the driver could get in and out of the back of the car. Although she did not patent her idea, it was a crucial precursor to modern brake and turn signals. A gyp ball is a traditional Greenlandic sport played on ice with a ball made of seal sinew and a field marked by wooden poles. Unusually, the rules strictly prohibit physical contact and rely on individual skill in dodging. It is played in winter on the frozen sea. Tardigrades, also known as water bears, are microscopic organisms known for their amazing ability to survive in extreme environments. They can survive the vacuum of space, intense radiation, temperatures near absolute zero, and complete dehydration. The original BMW logo was inspired by the white and blue colors of the Bavarian flag. Contrary to the popular belief that it represents a spinning airplane propeller, this myth originated in a 1929 advertisement promoting their aviation engines. The true inspiration is the region's coat of arms. The ancient city of Troy, immortalized by Homer in the Iliad, was believed to be purely mythical until it was rediscovered. Archaeologist Heinrich Schliemann excavated it in the 1870s, revealing not one, but multiple layers of cities built one on top of the other. The 1979 film Alien used an intentional casting technique that did not reveal the characters' genders in the original script. This allowed director Ridley Scott to choose actors based solely on their acting ability. The Boston Marathon has a unique distinction. It was the first race to allow a woman to participate, Catherine Switzer, in 1967. However, she registered under her initials KV, Switzer, to conceal her gender. In the Middle Ages, trials by ordeal were used as a method to determine guilt or innocence. For example, the ordeal by cold water involved tying a suspect up and throwing them into a body of blessed water. If they sank, they were innocent because the water accepted them. If they floated, they were guilty because the water rejected them, although most accused did not survive the process. In some parts of Sweden and other Nordic countries, it is customary to let babies sleep outdoors in strollers, even in sub-zero temperatures. The belief is that fresh air helps babies sleep better and strengthens their immune system. The babies are kept warm and closely monitored, and it is considered a common health practice. Pétanque, or boules, very popular in France, is often considered a quiet sport, but its origins date back to ancient Greece and Rome. Originally, it was played with stone balls and was a test of strength rather than accuracy. The modern game we know, which requires throwing balls as close as possible to a small target ball, was formalized in 1907. Before the invention of the wireless remote control, televisions used a wired remote that connected directly to the set. The first wireless version, the 1955 Zenith Flashmatic, used a beam of light to activate photoelectric cells in the corners of the screen. The famous chocolate buttercream pie, known as Boston cream pie, is not actually a pie but a sponge cake. It was given the name cake because it was baked in the same flat pans used for fruitcakes in the 19th century. It is considered the official dessert of the state of Massachusetts, despite its misleading name. In 1923, the famous jockey Frank Hayes won a steeplechase in New York despite dying midway through the race. Hayes' heart stopped mid-course, but his lifeless body remained in the saddle. His horse, Sweet Kiss, crossed the finish line first, making Hayes the only athlete in history to win a sporting event after his death. Tutankhamun's throne, recovered from his tomb almost intact, holds a fascinating detail. The seat back depicts the young pharaoh and his wife, Ankhesenamun. Interestingly, due to Tutankhamun's short life, he left no direct descendants, making him the last of his dynasty. The actor Sean Connery wore a wig in all his James Bond films, a fact that often surprises fans, as the character is synonymous with masculinity. Connery began losing his hair at the age of 21, so he wore wigs or hairpieces in most of his spy films to maintain his iconic image. Underwater hockey is a team sport played at the bottom of a swimming pool, where two teams try to push a lead puck through the bottom into the opponent's goal using a short stick. Players must hold their breath and surface frequently. The Palpa geoglyphs, often overshadowed by the nearby Nazca lines, are massive figures drawn in the sand that predate Nazca. These geoglyphs, which include anthropomorphic figures and images of hunters, were made by peeling away the top layer of dark stones to reveal the underlying light-colored sand. Before his music career, Queen singer Freddie Mercury worked at Heathrow Airport in London as a baggage handler. It was during this time that he met his future bandmates. In 2018, Heathrow even created a small tribute to him, asking its employees to perform his signature moves during a shift. Botaoshi is a pole-toppling game played annually by cadets at Japan's National Defense Academy. Two teams of 150 players, divided into attackers and defenders, attempt to bring down a central pole about 10 feet high. The Great Irish Famine of 1845 to 1849, which caused a massive migration to North America, was not due to a general lack of food, but rather to the population's almost total reliance on potatoes for their diet. The disease Phytophthora infestans destroyed the potato crops. Jazz guitar virtuoso Django Reinhardt developed his unique and distinctive style after a fire in his caravan severely damaged two fingers on his left hand. Despite this limitation, he learned to play and master the guitar using only his index and middle fingers. The mystery of the Mary Celeste is one of the most famous in maritime history. It was found adrift in 1872 with no crew on board, but in seaworthy condition. The crew's belongings, the cargo of denatured alcohol, and the lifeboat had all vanished. Have you ever seen penguins leaping from a glacier into the water? It is a natural spectacle full of energy and coordination. They launch themselves in groups as if it were a diving competition, and all that just to go fishing or simply take a refreshing dip. In the Italian town of Gubbio, an enormous Christmas tree is erected every year. It is not an ordinary tree, but a living one made up of thousands of lights placed on a mountainside. This impressive light installation stands out as one of the largest Christmas trees on the planet. Its size and brilliance make it visible from afar, illuminating the night landscape and attracting visitors from distant places to admire this spectacular tradition. In Hong Kong, there is a unique place called the Cat Bookstore, specializing in everything related to cats. There, feline lovers will find an extensive collection of books and items dedicated to these animals. As they browse the shelves, they can share the space with cats that live in the bookstore, creating a cozy and endearing atmosphere. This site combines a passion for reading with feline companionship, creating a unique experience. Shetland sheepdogs, renowned for their sharp intelligence and boundless energy, stand out despite their compact size. This breed possesses an innate talent for herding, demonstrating outstanding skills in gathering and guarding flocks. Their ability to learn quickly and their dedication make them ideal companions for rural tasks. In March 2016, Wiz, a Newfoundland dog, posthumously received the PDSA Medal of Merit, the equivalent of the OBE for animals. The reason was that he saved 10 people and a dog from drowning. His legacy lives on with Canary Woof, an event in London where you can be rescued by a Newfoundland. It is a fun way to pay tribute to these furry heroes. Are you brave enough to be saved by a giant rescue dog? In Bessières, France, the Giant Tortilla Festival is held every year, an event that attracts thousands of visitors. During the festival, a gigantic egg omelet is prepared that can feed an entire crowd. Gisele Bündchen, in addition to being a global supermodel, is a sustainability advocate. She collaborated with the Brazilian brand Ipanema to create a line of eco-friendly sandals, reflecting her love for Brazil and her commitment to the environment. Did you know that the first supermodel in history was a man? In 1850, Charles Frederick Worth not only designed clothes in Paris, he also modeled them himself. He was a pioneer in showcasing his own creations before modern runways existed. So, before the top models, there was a gentleman with plenty of attitude and style. Ram Singh Chauhan, the man with the world's longest mustache, boasts a mustache over 16 feet long. He began growing it in 1970 and dedicates an hour a day to cleaning and styling it, wrapping it around his neck due to its incredible length. The Blue Lagoon in Iceland is an open-air geothermal paradise surrounded by a surreal volcanic landscape. Its silica and mineral-rich waters are not only relaxing, but also known for their skin-healing properties. The Puffing Billy steam train in Australia offers a unique experience traveling through the stunning Dandenong Mountains near Melbourne. Originally built in 1900 to transport timber, the train has been meticulously restored to take travelers through landscapes steeped in historical charm. A restaurant in Miami, Florida, uses a robot to serve its customers. Astro is a robot that assists the waiters at Sergio's, a well-known restaurant in the city. Its tasks include bringing food to tables and facilitating service, improving the efficiency of the waiter's work, and even wishing diners a happy birthday. Have you heard of the Messi clone? Reza Parastesh, an Iranian man with a striking resemblance to Lionel Messi, has experienced some curious situations because of his appearance. Often mistaken for the famous footballer, he has generated both admiration and legal complications due to the public confusion. His striking resemblance has turned his story into a media phenomenon, attracting the attention of fans and authorities alike. Agbogbloshie, Ghana, is the world's largest electronic waste dump, receiving waste from Europe and North America. Here, thousands of people risk their health scavenging for scrap metal, exposing themselves to toxic and polluting materials. This neighborhood has become a landmark of informal recycling, but also one of the most dangerous places on the planet. The accumulation of electronic waste makes Agbogbloshie one of the areas most impacted by global pollution. 3D advertisements, like those in New York, are a growing trend in the advertising world. These ads use advanced technology to create striking visual effects that capture the public's attention. For example, they can project images that appear to pop out of the screens or interact with the physical environment. This type of advertising is not only visually impressive, but also creates a memorable experience for viewers. French motocross rider Tom Pages performed a base flip on a motorcycle, setting an impressive record. This jump, which reached speeds of over 50 miles per hour and a height of about 180 feet, was the first of its kind in history. Pages used a specially designed ramp for launch and performed a complete mid-air rotation before landing. Imagine 25000 Jaffa candies hurtling down the steepest street in the world. That is what happens in Dunedin, New Zealand, during the Cadbury Chocolate Carnival. The orange candies descend like a sweet avalanche in the famous Jaffa race, a delicious spectacle that combines excitement, laughter, and lots of chocolate. In the frozen depths of Western Canada, Abraham Lake offers an unusual sight every winter: thousands of white bubbles trapped beneath the translucent ice. These bubbles are not mere natural decorations, but methane produced by the decomposition of organic matter at the bottom of the lake. As the gas rises, it becomes trapped in layers of ice, creating a landscape as hypnotic as it is unsettling. Originating from the Swiss city of Basel, Basler Leckerli are robust and aromatic biscuits that challenge the first bite with their firm texture. Made with a rich mixture of honey, almonds, candied fruit, and a touch of warm spices like cinnamon and cloves, these delicacies date back to the 15th century. Every summer, the historic city of Avignon transforms into a gigantic theatrical stage thanks to one of the world's most iconic performing arts festivals. Founded in 1947, the Avignon Theatre Festival transforms old palaces, squares, and urban corners into spaces for artistic expression, showcasing everything from renowned classics to avant-garde and provocative works. Located a short distance from the city of Darwin, Litchfield National Park is a natural sanctuary that dazzles with its majestic waterfalls, refreshing pools of crystal-clear water, and enormous termite mounds that resemble alien sculptures. The Yukon Kanto is a peculiar sporting event held in Finland where men carry their wives on their backs while running an obstacle course. This traditional event aims to complete the course as quickly as possible, testing the participants' endurance and skill. The most unusual aspect of the event is the prize. The winner receives beer equal to his wife's weight. Did you know there is a restaurant based on toilets? At Gordo's restaurant in Israel, customers enjoy frozen desserts served in toilet-shaped containers, a presentation that is as surprising as it is appealing. But it is not just the desserts that are unusual. The seats are toilets too. This peculiar concept has gained popularity on social media, where photos of the restaurant elicit mixed reactions. Interestingly, Taiwan is also home to another restaurant with the same theme, further adding to the fame of these eccentric establishments. At Orly Airport in Paris, travelers can enjoy a unique experience while waiting for their flight. PlayStation 5 consoles are available for free. Undoubtedly a modern touch that makes the hours before the flight more enjoyable. Anyone can lose track of time. In Japan, Mitsubishi Electric's Toku Fastbot has dazzled the world by solving a Rubik's Cube in a record time of just 0.204 seconds. This robot uses high-speed servo motors and an artificial intelligence algorithm to recognize colors and perform the necessary moves with astonishing precision. With this feat, it surpassed the human record of 3.13 seconds set by Max Park in 2023. Did you know that breakdancing made its debut at the 2024 Paris Olympics as a sporting discipline? It was an innovative addition that sought to reflect modern cultural trends. However, for the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics, it was decided to exclude it from the program, citing the need to review its impact on more traditional competitions. The amazing boiling lake of Dominica is a unique natural wonder and one of the largest boiling lakes on the planet. This bubbling lake is located inside a volcanic crater and reaches temperatures so high that the water constantly boils. The steam rising from its gray waters comes from active geothermal springs beneath the surface, making it a striking example of the intense volcanic activity that characterizes this Caribbean island. In Vietnam, the Mid-Autumn Moon Festival, called Tet Trung Thu, stands out as one of the most vibrant and joyful festivities, especially for children. During this celebration, the streets are filled with colorful lanterns, parades, and traditional dances, creating a magical and festive atmosphere. Children actively participate with games, songs, and the traditional tasting of mooncakes, a symbol of the festival. The longest recorded insect is the Chan giant stick insect, which can exceed about 22 inches in length. This insect, with its elongated body and appearance that mimics branches or sticks, uses its camouflage to blend seamlessly into the vegetation, making it one of the best masters of disguise in the animal kingdom. Its impressive size and ability to blend in make it a fascinating creature for entomologists and nature lovers. The Bacalar Lagoon, located in Quintana Roo, is known for its crystal-clear waters that display a stunning array of turquoise hues. This spot is a popular destination for water sports enthusiasts. Its natural beauty and tranquility make Bacalar an ideal place to relax and connect with nature. The lagoon also boasts stromatolite formations, ancient living organisms that contribute to the area's rich ecosystem. The World Balloon Festival in León, Guanajuato, stands out as one of the most vibrant and energetic spectacles in all of Mexico. Every year, this event brings together hundreds of hot air balloons of various colors and shapes, creating a mesmerizing panorama in the sky. In addition to the flights, the festival offers cultural activities, live music, and culinary options that attract visitors from all over the country and the world. Certain species of iguanas, especially the marine iguana that inhabits the Galapagos Islands, possess the amazing ability to stay underwater for extended periods. These aquatic reptiles have developed special adaptations that allow them to hold their breath while submerged to feed on marine algae and avoid predators. In 2006, Brian Randall Schaefer was seen entering a bar in Ohio. He never appeared on security cameras, and no one ever saw him again. There is no evidence of an escape nor any signs of foul play. He vanished inside an enclosed space as if he had been swallowed by the earth. One of the most baffling cases of the modern era. In the famous Waitomo Caves, located in New Zealand, a dazzling phenomenon occurs every night. Thousands of bioluminescent worms inhabit the cavern ceilings, creating a spectacle of blue lights that illuminate the dark underground waters. This brilliant natural phenomenon is one of the most impressive wonders of the world, attracting thousands of tourists every year. Imagine a fish that, instead of swimming, walks along the ocean floor as if patrolling the reef in a hat and spurs. This Australian fish does not move like the others. It has modified fins that resemble legs, which it uses to literally walk along the seabed. Its style is so peculiar that biologists describe it as the cowboy of the ocean. With more than 21 million inhabitants, Lagos, Nigeria, is not only one of the largest cities in the world, but also one of the most difficult to live in. Hellish traffic, constant power outages, water pollution, tons of garbage piled up, and entire neighborhoods without basic services. But the most serious problem, the constant threat of infectious diseases, crime, and infrastructure collapse. Daniel Tammet has savant syndrome and synesthesia. That means he sees numbers as shapes, colors, and even textures. Thanks to this, he memorized more than 22,000 digits of pi and learned Icelandic in a week. But what is most impressive is how she describes numbers. 289 is ugly. 333 is attractive. 9 is enormous, like a mountain. Yes, her brain literally translates mathematics into visual art. In 1972, this German student astonished everyone when it was discovered that she could see with 20 times greater precision than a normal person. She could see a person from more than 1 mile away and recognize their face. The strangest thing, she did not wear glasses or have surgery. She was simply born with clinically confirmed mutant vision. In the Guangxi province of China are located the famous covered bridges known as wind and rain bridges, built by the Dan community. These wooden structures, assembled without nails, represent an astonishing example of ancient engineering. Tokyo is home to artificial islands like Odaiba, an entertainment destination famous for its Diversity Tokyo Plaza shopping mall and its enormous life-size Gundam statue. In addition, it houses the innovative Team Lab Borderless Digital Museum, offering a unique and immersive experience for visitors. Paul McCartney's marriage to Heather Mills ended in a costly divorce, with McCartney paying approximately $48.7 million. This became one of the most expensive celebrity divorces in history. The Henningsvær Stadium, located on the island of Lofoten in Norway, offers spectacular views of the ocean and surrounding mountains. Without traditional stands, fans enjoy the game from an asphalt walkway that encircles the pitch, making this stadium a truly unique venue. Treats and Pets Deli, an innovative restaurant in Germany, offers gourmet dishes designed to satisfy the palates of dogs and cats. Since opening, it has become a popular spot where pets enjoy a unique culinary experience, reflecting the growing focus on animal welfare. At Cafe Ruru in Japan, the tables are made of water, a highly original concept that combines design and functionality. These ethereal tables create a unique and futuristic atmosphere. Mehran Karimi Nasseri, an Iranian refugee, spent 18 years living in Terminal 1 of Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris. Although life in the airport was not comfortable, he found food, security, and warmth there, which gave him more stability than other options. Over time, he fully adapted to his life among the boarding gates, and airport staff even helped him clean his clothes. His extraordinary story inspired the film The Terminal. For nearly 20 years, he lived in the waiting area, becoming a mythical figure among travelers and airport employees, and his presence became an integral part of the airport's atmosphere. The golden lion tamarin, a tiny primate from Brazil, is distinguished by its golden mane that resembles that of a lion. It measures between 12 and 16 inches long, not including its tail, and boasts a lustrous coat. However, its beauty is threatened by the destruction of its natural habitat, which places it on the brink of extinction. The urgent conservation of its environment is essential to ensure the survival of this unique species. Andrew Dahl, a young man with an astonishing talent, set a world record by inflating 27 balloons using only his nose in 3 minutes. Although the record now stands at 28 balloons, his original feat remains memorable for its originality and skill. This peculiar and astonishing achievement highlights the creativity and unique abilities that can land someone in the record books. In Ethiopia, the Erta Ale volcano is home to one of the most amazing and underappreciated natural phenomena on the planet, an active lava lake that remains in constant flux. This impressive body of molten magma offers a mesmerizing spectacle of fire and light that attracts adventurers and scientists alike. In Western Australia, Wave Rock stands out as a stunning natural structure that resembles the shape of a huge wave frozen in time, ready to crash. This curious rock formation, sculpted by erosion over millions of years, attracts visitors from all over the world for its singular beauty and unique appearance. In the Aydın region of Turkey, a unique festival dedicated to camel fighting is held annually, a custom that dates back almost 2,400 years. During this traditional event, camels engage in ceremonial combat that attracts locals and tourists alike. This age-old practice is part of the local culture and reflects the historical relationship between the communities and these majestic animals. The Pacific bluefin tuna holds the title of the world's most expensive fish. During the opening of the Toyosu Fish Market in Tokyo, Japan, a specimen weighing about 610 pounds fetched a record price of $31,000,000 at the inaugural auction in 2019. This impressive value reflects the high demand and prestige associated with this species in haute cuisine, especially in the preparation of sushi and sashimi. The most recently formed country in the world is South Sudan, which officially separated from Sudan in 2011. This nation was born after years of conflict and negotiations, becoming a new independent member on the global map. Since its formation, South Sudan has faced various challenges as it seeks to consolidate its sovereignty and develop its national identity. Its creation symbolizes an important process of political and social change in modern history. The volcano known as Ijen, located in Indonesia, is famous for an extraordinary phenomenon: its intensely blue flames. These blue lights appear due to the spontaneous combustion of sulfuric gases that are constantly released from its crater. This natural spectacle can only be appreciated in the darkness of night, when the contrast with the darkness enhances its mystical glow. In the remote village of Nongriat, India, lies an impressive natural creation called the Double Root Bridge. This unique structure is the work of the Khasi tribe, who have carefully woven the living roots of trees to form a sturdy and eco-friendly crossing over the local rivers. These bridges, built with patience and respect for nature, can support the weight of up to 50 people at the same time, demonstrating an ancient technique of green engineering. The pisco sour is an icon of Peru, recognized as its national drink. Its classic recipe combines pisco, lime, simple syrup, egg white, and Angostura bitters, creating a refreshing cocktail with a perfect balance of acidity, sweetness, and intensity. Bukchon Hanok Village in Seoul, South Korea, is a charming neighborhood famous for its traditional Hanok houses and offers a unique glimpse into Seoul life before modernization. After hanging up his football gloves in 2019, Petr Cech, the legendary Chelsea goalkeeper, surprised the world by joining Guildford Phoenix, a second-tier ice hockey team in the UK, combining his love of the sport with a new adventure. Hogmanay is the iconic Scottish New Year celebration, lasting from the night of December 31st to January 2nd. This celebration blends ancient traditions and modern events, offering a rich and vibrant cultural experience. Among its most prominent customs are the torchlight processions that illuminate the streets, creating a magical and timeless atmosphere. In Japan, Valentine's Day is celebrated on February 14th with a very particular tradition that differs from many other parts of the world. On this day, it is primarily women who give chocolates to the men in their lives. Furthermore, Valentine's Day in Japan is only half of a ritual that continues a month later with White Day, when men reciprocate the gifts, thus solidifying a unique and symbolically rich cultural dynamic. In Edinburgh, the capital of Scotland, the workday begins around 10 in the morning and usually ends around 4 in the afternoon, a rhythm that fosters tranquility and quality of life. The city prohibits skyscrapers and restores old buildings to preserve its heritage. Stitch, Disney's famous experiment 626, was designed inspired by the Eye, a lemur from Madagascar with large ears, round eyes, and a small body that strikingly resembles the animated character. This nocturnal creature has always fascinated people with its unusual and strange appearance. On cruise ships, the word "Bravo" announced over the loudspeaker means there is a fire on board, even though it sounds like simple applause. The code Alpha refers to a medical emergency, while Oscar alerts that someone has fallen overboard. PVI indicates that a passenger has vomited in a public area. These codes exist to prevent panic among travelers and allow the crew to act quickly in delicate situations. Anthony Hopkins won the Oscar for Best Actor in 1992 for his portrayal of Hannibal Lecter in The Silence of the Lambs, despite appearing on screen for only 25 minutes. His gaze, his voice, and his intense presence were enough to create the most memorable villain in modern cinema. In Japan, McDonald's created an exclusive Nintendo DSi console to train its employees through a program called the eCrew Development Program. The software taught them how to prepare hamburgers, use the cash register, and follow protocols as if it were a real interactive video game. These consoles were never released to the public and are now so rare that they fetch prices exceeding $1,000 among collectors. Bailey, a mini sheepadoodle, went viral thanks to his almost perfect resemblance to Snoopy, the iconic dog from Peanuts. His white fur with black ears and his sweet expression led thousands of users to say he looked like a real-life version of the character created by Charles M. Schulz. Sadio Mane, the Senegalese football star, invested a large part of his fortune in improving his hometown of Bambali, building a hospital, a school, a post office, and a gas station. Thanks to these projects, thousands of people gained access to services that were previously unavailable there. In Japan, there are Bohan Yokuraboru balls, orange spheres filled with bright paint that are thrown at fleeing criminals to mark them. The paint remains on their clothing and skin for several days, making them easier to locate. The most dangerous tree in the world is the manchineel tree, found in parts of the Caribbean and Central America. Its sap causes severe burns, and even raindrops falling on its leaves can cause blisters on the skin. Even its fruit, similar to an apple, can be deadly. There was once a pig that resembled a sheep due to its curly, woolly coat. It was called the Mangalika pig and originated in Hungary. Its blonde, black, or reddish coat protected it from the coldest winters of Central Europe, making it a very hardy breed. In the mid-20th century, it was nearly extinct, displaced by more commercially viable breeds that brought it to the brink of disappearing. A group of Hungarian farmers rescued it, and thanks to their efforts, the breed survived, and its meat eventually became a luxury delicacy prized on exclusive menus. In 2015, Microsoft built the world's quietest room in Redmond, Washington, an anechoic chamber capable of absorbing 100% of ambient sound. With wedge-shaped panels, concrete and steel, it achieved a Guinness World Record with a level of negative 20.3 decibels, allowing one to hear the movement of bones, blood, and even the digestive system. Most people cannot stand to stay there for more than a few minutes because the brain goes into overdrive due to the complete lack of stimuli. Its construction cost over $500,000, and today it serves to test devices that require extreme acoustic precision. In Spain, there is a castle that directly inspired Walt Disney when creating the Queen's Castle in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, one of the most iconic films in history. It is the Alcázar of Segovia, located in the city of Segovia, an hour from Madrid, and famous for its ship-like shape and pointed towers. This imposing medieval architecture gave Disney the perfect visual reference to convey fantasy, magic, and elegance in his animated tale. It is currently open to the public, and each room is steeped in history, making it one of the most visited castles in the country. An engineer named Danny Manu created a headset called Mayu Click, capable of translating up to 37 languages in real time without an internet connection. This invention revolutionized communication during travel, international meetings, or situations where understanding another language was a challenge. The goal has always been to break down language barriers and allow people from different cultures to connect without relying on external applications. Oymyakon in Siberia is known as the coldest inhabited village in the world because its temperatures have reached as low as negative 94 degrees Fahrenheit. In this place, cars are never turned off because the engines would freeze, cell phones die in seconds, and even pen ink solidifies instantly. Despite this extreme climate, around 500 people live there, completely adapted to the permanent ice, with insulated houses and a diet rich in fat. In 2020, Oreo built a top-secret vault in Svalbard, Norway, very close to the global seed vault, to protect its recipe in case of a global catastrophe. The structure was designed to withstand earthquakes, explosions, and even apocalyptic scenarios, turning the project into an international viral phenomenon. Inside the vault were vacuum-sealed packages and a digitized copy of the original recipe, like a culinary treasure for the future. Although it began as a creative campaign, the vault actually exists and has become part of pop culture. After her divorce, Joanne Ussery decided to radically change her life by buying an old Boeing 727 for just $2,000 to convert it into her home. She invested around $30,000 more to install a kitchen, bathroom, living room, bedrooms, and even a bathtub inside the overhead compartment. The plane was parked facing a lake, and the cockpit became her reading room with a spectacular view. Her story became an example of personal reinvention, showing that with creativity, even an abandoned airplane can be turned into a welcoming home. In Abu Dhabi, you will find Ferrari World, the first indoor theme park dedicated to the Italian brand and home to the world's fastest roller coaster, Formula Rossa. This ride accelerates from 0 to 140 miles per hour in just 4.9 seconds using the same hydraulic system that launches aircraft from aircraft carriers. Visitors experience up to 4.8 Gs of force as they ride, making it an extreme experience for speed fans. In addition to the park itself, the entire building is shaped like the Ferrari logo, which is stunning from the air. James Harrison, known as the man with the golden arm, donated blood 1,173 times over 60 years and saved millions of lives. His blood contained a unique antibody that led to the anti-D treatment to prevent life-threatening Rh incompatibility in newborns. Before the treatment, thousands of babies died or suffered brain damage each year, so his contribution had an enormous impact on global medicine. His motivation began at age 14 when he received life-saving transfusions after surgery and decided to give back. Every year, something extraordinary happens in the Black Rock Desert in Nevada when thousands of people create a temporary city called Black Rock City for the Burning Man Festival. At this event, there is no money, no advertising, and no famous artists. Everything is based on collaboration, art, and total self-sufficiency. Giant sculptures, mutant vehicles, and surreal works that seem otherworldly are built, creating an ephemeral community without traditional rules. At the end, a huge wooden figure called the Man is burned, and the city disappears completely, leaving the desert as it was. And that is all, folks. Do not forget to like and subscribe for more amazing facts.